go and what. I hope you're not a Hebrew Israelite going to tell me where my mother's been and where she's going to go and what will happen to my daughters.
We already know that your wife was a we want to know if her daughters were just as big. How do you feel about the that raised you?
No, all that's ridiculous. I'm calling, because I'm having a bit of a conflict within myself, and I, really want to know if you could help. Just so you can understand my background.
Yeah. Well, someone just said you're a Sicarii leader.
Who? Well, I may or may not be a Hebrew Israelite, but that's not what I'm calling.
No, but they say you're a leader, a Sicarii leader, Adonis Glaude.
Yes, Adonis Glaude is my name. So if you could walk with me, Sam.
It depends, man. Sometimes I don't like the journeys people take me on. What is it? Give me your question. Let's see.
I heard you were Catholic. I don't know. I'd honestly rather talk to somebody who's Catholic in regards to this. Are you Catholic?
There are a lot of doctrines of the Catholic Church I hold to. Yes, I mean, so what doctrines of the Catholic Church disturb you?
I mean, to be honest, it's certain doctrines, but also it's like the history. You got to understand that.
Yeah. Before you get to the history, give me the specific doctrines you struggle with, because I have someone that's confirmed. She knows you because she deals with Hebrew Israelites. You told a guy named Brother Polite that he could kill his mother. He was okay with that. So it's okay.
I told him that there's nothing morally wrong with it. That's what I said.
Good job. I like that. I like the moral code that you guys espouse. So, but what doctrines of the Catholic Church? Be specific so we can get to it.
Okay. So some of the doctrines of the Catholic Church, maybe purgatory, the perpetual virginity of Mary.
Yes.
What else? I'm trying to think. And some of just the hierarchical, the papacy, etc.
Yeah.
I take issue with. I don't know which of those you hold to, though.
Now, I just want to ask a question because I don't know what your particular branch of Hebrew Israelites believe. Do you believe in the virgin birth of Christ, that he was conceived and born from the Virgin Mary?
No, sir.
Okay, so why are you even worried about the perpetual virginity of Mary when you don't even believe in the virgin conception and birth of Christ?
Well, the reason is because it's a fundamental Catholic ideology.
Yeah.
So,
but let's first get down the virginal conception and birth of Christ, because if there's no virginal conception of birth of Christ, there's no perpetual virginity, because she wasn't a virgin to begin with when she conceived Christ. So why do you reject the virginal conception and birth of Christ?
When I read the text and, of course, understanding the prophecies, I understand that this all had to happen by the seed of David.
And what does the seed of David mean?
The seed of David means fluid.
And how could David's seminal fluid be transferred to Jesus when he was dead 1,000 years before the birth of Jesus? And how could David's seminal fluid be transferred to Jesus when he was dead 1,000 years before the birth of Jesus?
Well, of course, he had descendants that were created from his seminal. Such.
No, you're not listening to yourself. You see, this is the problem I have. You didn't listen. You said he has to be the seed of David, and you said the fluid of David. But now you extended that to the seed of his descendants. That's not what you said. So it's not literally the seed of David, right?
Well, him particularly, no.
Okay. So right there, you just answered yourself. You just proved that the seed of David cannot be literal because David did not marry to give birth to Jesus.
Kahalal la Yahawah, Bahashem YAHAWASHI, Waha. Racha Kwadash, all praises and glory go to you, Lord. Double honors and respect go to our apostles, bishops, elders, and teachers, the men of Great Millstone. To you I say Shalom. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there. It's your brother Amraya, and let's get into it. This is why you shouldn't debate, okay? If those in this walk that we're in this ministry that we've taken part in, would understand that the apostles of Great Millstone, starting with Elder Apostle Tahar on down, gave these instructions for sound advice, okay? They gave it so that you would not be participating in completely useless discussions, okay? That doesn't convince one side or the other. And quite frankly, after watching this little debate, whatever it was, Sicarii came away from this looking very, very foolish, okay? To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. There were several opportunities to respond with scriptures. A man as studied as Sicarii seems to proclaim himself should have been able to pull into his bag and get this Christian out the way easy money. But again, don't even debate with them. This is what the apostles have been saying for a while now. Now, dealing with the genealogy, Okay, the seed, the man is the only one to be able to bear seed, and how this coincides with Joseph being a descendant of King David. It is outlined right here in Matthew chapter 1, the genealogy of YAHAWASHI HaMashiach. It says, the book of the generation of YAHAWASHI HaMashiach, the son of David, the son of Abraham. And it goes on to go through the genealogy. Abraham begot Isaac. Now, side note, I wanted to get this word in the Greek for begat, okay? Matter of fact, I'll show you the process right here. We can go into G1080, begat. And the info on it says to procreate, okay? Figuratively, to regenerate, to bear, to beget, to be born, bring forth, conceive, be delivered of, gender, make, or spring, all right? And I'll go further into Bible usage of men who fathered children, right? So this is speaking of the fathering, okay, and the descendants that came from the fathering of these men being spoken of right here in the genealogy of YAHAWASHI HaMashiach. Isaac begot Jacob, Jacob begot Judas and his brethren. Judas begot Phares and Zerah of Thamar, and Phares begot Ezram, and Ezram begot Aram, and Aram begot Aminadab. Salaki if I, destroy this. Skipping through verse, because there are a lot of names, you can read them for yourself, and rather than butcher just the names, I'm going to skip down because it goes through a lot of names. We're going to get to Joseph. Now, I'll begin at verse 14. And Azar begot Zadok, and keep in mind, these are all bloodline descendants in King David's line, okay? And how this applies to Joseph receiving the seed of King David, not Mary, what this stupid-ass Roman Catholic is pushing. Verse 14, and Azar begot Zadok, and Zadok begot Achim, and Achim begot Eliud, right? And Eliud begot Eleazar, and Eleazar begot Mathan, and Mathan begot Jacob, and Jacob begot Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born YAHAWASHI, who is called HaMashiach. So YAHAWASHI, whom you ignorantly call Jesus, is a direct bloodline descendant of King David through this series of genealogy spoken from Matthew chapter 1, verse 1, all the way down to verse 17. And I'll keep reading. It says, so all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations, and from David until the carrying away into Babylon are 14 generations, and from the carrying away into Babylon onto Hamashiach are 14 generations. Led us to this occurrence of YAHAWASHI, whom you call Jesus, coming through the loins of David. Okay, let's continue watching.
So that means you have to look elsewhere to know what seed means. For example, in Genesis 3:15, the seed of the woman. Does woman have?
No.
But
They
wait,
just
it
have
says seed of the woman. Genesis 3:15. Explain how a woman can have seed. Genesis 3:15.
Here we go. Sicarii, this is what you signed up for. Okay? And you should have made light work of this Roman Catholic. If you were to sign up for this, defend the gospel. Don't just sit up and get dictated and ran through. But again, this is why you were told by the apostles of Great Millstone not to be debating. Genesis 3:15 speaks about the Yahweh putting enmity between the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. Okay, in these latter days, we have some scriptures depicting Israel as the woman, okay? And the seed of the serpent more so aligns with the nation of Esau, Edom, and their cohorts, okay? So there would be enmity between the tribes, okay? Some of the tribes come from the seed of Shaitan, They are of their father, the devil, as they see their father do, they do. Okay? And the woman's seed was supposed to be of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, YAHAWASHI. Okay? It is not saying that a woman can impregnate with seed, because this is impossible, for she is the soil that the seed is cultivated in. Okay? This is just speaking of her descendants becoming or having enmity between themselves and the tribes that would come from the serpent seed. And we see that enmity to this very day. Okay, it has nothing to do with the woman being able to bear seed to impregnate. So that's a big fat fail for you, Sam Shimon. Let's continue watching.
Well, if we could just slow down for a second, because the high priest is called the seed of Aaron, and
Good
the
job.
Israelites are the seed of Jacob, but
Good
they're
job.
not the seed of either of those people.
Good
So
job. No, so you just made my case. It means to be a physical descendant thereof. So what proof do you have that Jesus can't be the seed of David from his mother's side?
Well, number one, what proof do you have that Mary is a descendant of David?
The fact that Jesus is called the son of David.
Okay, so that in and of itself is self-evident that Mary is of a descendant of David.
Logically, if Mary is his mother and he has no biological father, and yet he's the son of David, then the only conclusion you can arrive at is that Mary has to be of the household of David. You need to prove that Jesus has a biological father. That's from David.
Well,
Who's his biological father?
Well, this is the problem with that. Mary only has one relative that we see documented in the scriptures. Is she a descendant of David or even of the same tribe as David?
You should know better that priests could marry any virgin from the tribes of Israel.
No, I don't disagree with that, and I'm not.
But I'm answering your question, so you're not listening to the answer. You're already anticipating how to object.
No,
Elizabeth being his kinswoman. See, there you go again. You're talking over me. Go ahead. Tell me what you want to hear so I can repeat it back to you. Listen to the answer. You're referring to, I'm even going to tell you what you're referring to because you didn't mention it. You're referring to Luke 136, where Elizabeth is said to be the kinswoman of Mary, sun genis. That means that Elizabeth on her mother's side would have been a Judahite because Levites could marry any woman from any tribe. So that doesn't prove that Mary is not a daughter of David. It proves that Elizabeth would have had Davidic blood from her mother's side. Prove me wrong.
Well, that's a good assertion because, of course, it doesn't elaborate upon who her mother is.
No, well, I'm asking you skipped my answer. Who is the biological father of Jesus that made him the son of David? Sir? Who is the biological father of Jesus that made him the son of David? Sir? Who is the biological father of Jesus that made him the son of David? You didn't answer that.
Well, let's just go first. I mean, if we go to Matthew 1, it clearly gives him a genealogy of a man. I don't understand why.
No. Finish it. Don't play games with me, Matthew. Go to 18 to 25. That actually shows you just butchered the text. Read it. Go to Matthew 1.
I've never butchered the text. Why would the genealogy of a man who has no biological relation to Jesus Christ be listed in
you want to read or you want me to hang up on you? You've got 5 seconds to decide. 5,
Sam,
4.
Why are you going to hang up? I've been respectful.
Go to Matthew 1. Matthew 1. Bye-bye.
Listen,
Apollos, go kiss Adonis. Bye-bye, Apollos.
Why have to be hung up on?
Yep. Stinking wicked cowards. Stinking wicked cowards. Stinking wicked cowards. The dude it quotes Matthew, but he doesn't quote 18 to 25. See their jokes. They can't show you Jesus has a biological father, so I have to butcher Matthew 1. The same Matthew that says that Joseph did not touch Mary until she gave birth to her son. Does it get any clearer than that?
All right. This just serves as an example of why you shouldn't be participating in these debates of any kind. Okay. The apostles gave sound advice for a reason. But again, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make them drink it. Dealing with the light work of this Roman Catholic. Okay. This is the very basics of coming into this truth. I'll begin here in Matthew chapter 1 and verse 18. It says, "Now the birth of YAHAWASHI Mashiach was on this wise, when as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Spirit." Right. And what this is speaking about, for those of you who don't understand, who are misled by these clever oracles of the Roman Catholic Church, okay? When it says espoused to Joseph, when Mary was espoused to Joseph, she was engaged to Joseph, promised to him for marriage, okay? Before they came together in a wedding ceremony, because it was the traditions of the Israelites to keep a token of her virginity after the marriage. So they would wait around while the husband would go in to his wife sexually, okay? And as a token of her virginity, there will be a cloth with the blood from the hymen breaking, where they could use this as evidence that she was a virgin. However, in Joseph's case, she was engaged to him and he went into her sexually before the marriage ceremony, okay, which would have brought shame upon her, which it goes on verse 19. Then Joseph, her husband, not yet her husband, but in future tense, he would become her husband, being a just man and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privately, okay? Rather than get her embarrassed because he had already broken the hymen because they've engaged in sexual activity before the marriage, he put her away privily to save her public embarrassment, okay? But he had already went into her carnally and impregnated her with the seed. And that seed would be Hamashiach, YAHAWASHI, whom you ignorantly call Jesus. Now, it says, but while he thought on these things, behold, the angel of Yahweh appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, the son of David, Joseph is the son of David. Clearly it says it right here. This stupid-ass Christian, I don't know what else to say, is stupidity. It says, fear not to take unto thee Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name YAHAWASHI, for he shall save his people from their sins. And that's what it means. Yah meaning he, Hawashai meaning delivers or saves. And his people being the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and North American Indians, and you confusion of faces, okay? But the Lord ain't coming back to save no Christian. He ain't coming back to save black people, Mexicans, any of that. He is coming back to save the children of Israel. If you don't identify as such, that's on you, but that's another subject. Continuing on, verse 22. Now all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, behold, a virgin shall be with child, and bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, YAHAWASHI, which being interpreted is Yahweh is with us, or Yahweh with us. Now, the virgin. If you just simply go into the word, and I'm still mastering the Greek, so we'll let him, because Blue Letter has been malfunctioning. I'll just go into what it says. It says, origin, a maiden, by implication, an unmarried daughter. Right. So he went into an unmarried woman and impregnated her with seed. Joseph did. And that woman was Mary. And the seed was YAHAWASHI, whom you ignorantly call Jesus. And Joseph is the son of David, as it clearly stated in the scriptures. This virgin being spoken of here is not someone who has never engaged in sexual activity. This is simply, she was an unmarried daughter when she engaged in sexual activity. Okay, you Christians are bugged out of your mind. And Sicarii is stupid as shit for even going on this show. Okay, but I'll finish it out again. Close that out. 2 more verses. And Joseph being raised from sleep did as the angel of Yahweh had bidden him, and took unto him his wife, and knew her not till she had brought forth her firstborn son, and he called his name YAHAWASHI. So he didn't have sexual intercourse with her again until they were married and YAHAWASHI had been born. Okay, that's when Joseph went into Mary again. Okay, so all of this misunderstanding that Sicarii could have cleared up real quick with some scriptures, man, this is why you shouldn't debate, because if you're unprepared, you wind up looking like a dope. And that's all he did. He looked like a dope. Now, I wanted to finish out in something real quick because the debates they're not for Israel, okay? They're not for the edifying of the body. You're not going to convince these bugged out Christians to switch, and they're not going to convince you to switch unless you were not a part of this to begin with. This is Titus chapter 3 and verse 9 is what I'll read. It says, but avoid foolish questions and genealogies and contentions and strivings about the law, for they are unprofitable and vain. And I wanted to read this in the New Living Translation for y'all, okay? Because again, don't participate in these foolish discussions. Titus 3 and 9, do not get involved in foolish discussions about spiritual pedigrees or in quarrels or fights about obedience to Jewish laws. These things are useless and a waste of time. This was a freaking waste of time, okay? And any of you elders that get hold of this, I posted the full interview or debate or whatever this was before I posted this video. It's a 10-minute video you can download and do with it what you will, okay? But hopefully some of you elders a little more rounded in this subject bring this out, get more of the meat off that bone, okay? Hopefully this has been edifying. Call halal Yahawah by Hashem YAHAWASHI for this message. Shalom.